Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Nearly AI podcast. Today we have with us Aytekin Tank from CEO of Jotform. Aytekin, welcome to our podcast.
Hey, thank you for having me on your show. Yeah, I'm
Thank you
excited.
so much. Thank you so much. So you have had an impressive career, I will say, of 19 years since you founded Jotform, and I guess it's obvious for anyone watching this episode if you go out there and look for Jotform that it has become a leader in your industry. So can you tell us a bit about Jotform, about the product, how it started at the beginning, and how has it been reframed over the past of the 2 decades, right?
Yeah, 2 decades. So before Jotform, I was this lowly developer for a media company in New York City, and we had like over 100 websites. And our editors would every day come to me and ask me to build forms for them. Like I was building all these like contact forms, surveys, questionnaires, like contest entry forms, voting forms, like all kinds of forms you can think of. And I kind of hated it. I didn't like creating forms. I wanted to work on more like, exciting stuff as opposed to like building HTML forms and then plugging them in the backend to send emails, things like that, to the database, things like that. Very simple job, but it's boring for me as a developer. But it turned out that this is actually a very big job for a lot of people. It's just like, it's very hard to do for many people. So like when I was actually doing those things, building those forms, I was kind of like also looking at trying to find a product that can actually take it away from me. Like if I could find a product that would actually automate the work of creating the forms, I probably wouldn't have started Jotform. But I couldn't find one, and I've been always dreaming of like starting my own company one day. And like I decided, okay, this is the product that I should be building, and that's what I did. That was almost 2 decades ago, and since then I've been doing forms. And in addition to forms, like we have been also doing all these like additional features, and we have always built these features because we have seen that people who use forms, and we are serving like 25 million people. We are hosting 50 million forms from them, and while they like we help them with forms, like they have all these additional like things that they need to do, like, and they're always trying to use other products, integrating with other products. So we have been like always asking them like how else we can help you, and they've been always asking us like, can you do this for me, can you also integrate with this product because we need to do this. And one of the things we do is like we do user research, we interview our customers, and during those interviews you figure out like, okay, people are actually like forms are just one step in their journey. So they have all these
Yeah,
workflows that they need to get accomplished, but it always starts with a form. Interestingly, it always starts with a form.
yeah,
So this kind of like we started looking at this as a puzzle, so that like okay, we are doing really well with forms, we are providing a good product, but they need all these other pieces of the puzzle, and that's how we build all these additional products. Like, we have this app builder, Jotform apps, where you can actually create your own mobile apps, so you can put your forms in them. We have like this PDF generation, like document generation feature. All the data you receive from the forms, you want to turn them into these durable, stable, long-term documents, or like all kinds of PDF files. So we have this PDF designer, PDF editor that allows you to do that. So we have a signature product, e-sign product, Jotform Sign. And recently we have been also working on this AI product, and I'm sure we are going to talk about this. Your podcast is about AI, and Jotform Agents is a product where you can actually. We started with the idea that what if we could actually allow people to fill out forms while talking to an AI, just like you would talk to ChatGPT. What if you would talk to an AI agent that can actually take your information? And once we actually released this as an MVP, as a beta product, we found out that most people were actually using this product to kind of do customer service to their users, like because this has like knowledge base, they were using it that way. So we are releasing that product next week. I don't know when this podcast is going to come out, but February 25th, we're going to release
nice.
Jotform AI agents to the world. So yeah, it's been 2 decades of forms, but also in addition to forms, we have been helping people all these like workflow data related products.
Okay. So we can think of forms as data collection endpoints, right? So the form is never the goal, is the trigger of a workflow, is the trigger of a process for your company, right? And I guess that behavior has changed from just data collection and analysis to data collection and action on that data, right? So maybe integrating with other applications, with other softwares, with other tools, and that is why creating this ecosystem, I guess, is so critical. Ecosystem of tools, ecosystem of applications. What would you say has have changed in the last 20 years on the behavioral patterns of people using forms 20 years ago versus people using them now? Do you think it's more of a collaborative approach with other tools? Do you think what has changed?
There's always been this digital transformation, right? So in the past, like we would use faxes, right? I remember like, most of the documents I signed, I would actually like scan them and email them or fax them in the very early days of Jotform. Today I don't ever hear anybody actually doing that. Like just everyone is sending me a DocuSign, Jotform sign, a
Yeah,
signature product. Just like that, in the past, people were using these like regular, paper forms. That was very common. Or people weren't like they weren't using forms. Like they were just trying to do stuff by just talking to
yeah,
people, and then people found out that they can actually make things easier for themselves by just using like these digital forms.
yeah,
And the biggest point was the pandemic. Just our business suddenly had like this big growth. Like we just doubled or tripled our business started like tripling in like a year in like 2020. Like in I think it was, when was the pandemic? Was it like
March,
March or
around,
April, somewhere around
yeah,
there, or
around
February,
March. Yeah,
right? And then like we had this, like I remember writing to my team telling them, okay, we are all gonna start working from home now. And like, I was describing like which tools we will use. Like we were using like Discord audio to be like allow the teams to talk to each other easily, things like that. And then at that week, I remember like then suddenly the usage at Jotform like was going actually down, but that only took like a week. There was this big week where actually things started really bad because all the business like stopped, and then everything stopped, and everybody was like watching the TVs and like just they weren't doing much. And then I thought that, okay, this is gonna be end, like, we are gonna have trouble, our business is in trouble. But then the next week, suddenly, like everybody started using digital forms. Like they started switching every process because everybody started moving to homes.
yeah,
People stopped using papers, and then that slow. Like my company was very small in the beginning, like just 2006. It was me, and then like September 2006, I hired my first employee. 2007, I hired my second employee. The first 5 years of Jotform, I was just hiring one employee. It was that small. Like we were just small, even though we were still like at like one of the top companies in forms. We were like that small because there wasn't that many. The
yeah.
business
I
wasn't that big.
I guess
The forms
before
weren't that
pandemics,
big
it was
at
more of
that
a
time,
niche
right?
thing.
I
Yeah,
was lucky when I was small. The market was also small, so I wasn't competing with big guys.
exactly.
And um, and then but then once the pandemic hit, we were already this bigger company. I think 2020, we had around 200 employees, something like that, maybe less. We were ready, like we as a company, like we were much ready to kind of like develop all the things people needed. And actually, like the pandemic hit, and then our business doubled and then tripled, and then we started actually like just following whatever people needed, like adding all the features people might need, because the usage actually increased a lot. So you could actually also see similar things with like I think like Zoom,
Yeah,
Shopify, DocuSign. Like these companies has grown like a huge way because the pandemic actually like sped up that
yeah,
transformation. Yeah, and here's I was also wrong again. Like I expected that once the pandemic finished, like we would actually go down, right? And I was talking to the data guy guys in our company, and we were talking. I said, okay, yeah, we have this growth, but things will settle down because, like, once the pandemic ends, people will go back to how they were doing business, and that
Yeah.
doesn't happen. It's That's how I know this is actually a speed up in the transformation, the digital transformation of businesses,
Yeah.
and
And
I
especially
feel like
because
the AI is similar. Yeah.
besides pandemic, social media has expanded a lot. So digital sales funnels have became widespread across businesses, and that requires forms. So as digital marketing grows, and it will keep growing, I guess, across platforms, these type of collaborative tools for data imputation, data capture, data processing, and workflow automation will become way more and more
If you
relevant.
think about it, it's not just on, like, on your website, but it's also like, let's say you're a company, let's say you're an
Yeah,
HR department, or
yeah,
like, you're a sale in the sales department, you have all these customers you're communicating with,
yeah,
or let's say you're in education, you have students, teachers,
yeah,
parents,
of
so
course.
all this communication suddenly became harder because you cannot
Yeah,
anymore, like, have those like person to person, face to face conversations. You have to kind of communicate over, like, over
yeah,
Zoom, over email, over,
yeah,
Discord probably had like Slack and Discord probably also had like this big increase in usage. So, but when you're actually trying to do all these things with your customers, patients, students, clients, um, you actually needed to kind of turn that communication into more like a formal way, because, like, then, like, the data you get is in a format that's useful for you, as
yeah,
opposed to like just trying
and,
to just turn that communication into proper data.
yeah. And that is something I wanted to discuss with you. So forms is like super, or I won't say super structure, but forms prioritize structure on the outputs, right? Whenever you are filling a form, we have gender, male, female, we have age with the specific format of dates, we have first name, last name. So everything is kind of structured, right? And whenever you are thinking about a form, you need and a workflow that relies on a form, and you are thinking of a given fixed structure of that data, right? And now you are moving, or not necessarily moving, but adding, besides forms, you are adding conversational AI agents, right?
Yeah.
Which is like the opposite, right? It's zero structure, right? So you are capturing the data on one of the most unstructured ways, which is language, like free language. How has the paradigm of usage changed, if it has, and whether or not you still relied on the concept of structuring the data that you get through the conversations to automate these workflows, or if it is fully AI agent based?
I think that's a good thing. I think that being forms opposite of AI is a good thing. The reason is, if you think about it, like, people are always talking about how AI is gonna suddenly come in, and this is gonna be the end of SaaS, like software is a business, because people are not gonna buy SaaS. They're gonna just tell AI, okay, build me this software. But we know that that's not going to work. The
Yeah,
reason it's not going to work is, like I've been building this product for like 20 years. We have rewritten it like 4 times. It's just like we have like 25 million users. We get like so many hundreds of feedback every day, every week, every month, and then we fix the product and we improve the product, and it's still like we are still improving the product. It's just there's no end to it,
yeah,
and assuming that even if the AI has the same capabilities as human or even more, that it will just come up with this perfect solution right out of
yeah,
the gate. I doubt that. So the problem is, it's just talking to AI is very similar to talking to a person. You still need that structure. So the data still need to be structured. So when I'm thinking about building AI products, I feel like you need that structure, so that, like, all that power you have with AI, you can actually make that turn that power into something really useful.
of,
Otherwise, it's just very easy for it to go like rogue, or just like
yeah,
get lost, or start hallucinating, or start doing things wrong.
yeah,
But if you can actually give it that structure, And if you are actually, if you still have that software in the backend, but you, I see AI is like, the power of AI is not being able to create code. I think the power
Yeah.
of AI is the conversations. You can actually talk to humans, talk to people. You can understand them, and then you can actually respond to them. So if you think about it, like one of the biggest problems with software is it's just they're not easy to use. Like we've been working to make them easier to use, but most people actually cannot figure them out because it's
Mm.
because they not because they are dumb, because they don't have time to like learn new
Yeah.
products. And I actually wrote a book about this automation. Like
Okay.
I wrote the book Automate Your Busy Work. And the biggest problem, the reason people cannot automate their busy work is because they don't have time to learn the products, research the products, find the products that will help them, learn them, and then use them, like turn them into like they use them in their daily lives, daily work. And what AI promises us is allow people to actually talk to the software, like just
Yeah.
be this UI, be the user interface between the people and the software.
Yeah.
And I think this is huge. This is revolutionary. Nobody is talking about this because
Yeah.
this is actually big because now everyone can use the software. They just say, okay, I wish that I could do this in my business. And then the AI can translate that that sentence into like a sentence software can understand, which
Yeah.
is kind of the promise of AI agents, being able to like understand and make decisions and then talk to the tools in the backend. And then that's how I see it. The tool we are building, the tool we are releasing, Jotform AI agents, it's conversational, but there's still like all these tools, there's still all this knowledge in the backend that actually uh, AI provides to people, and then when someone actually tries to do an appointment, there's actually a software in the backend. We actually use the
Yeah.
software we have on the forms, like in Jotform forms, you can actually also do appointment forms. But
Okay.
we actually kept that tool, and we made it possible so that people can use that tool conversationally.
Okay.
And then you can also integrate that tool with Google Calendar so that you suddenly have this tool. Your people are actually talking to your Google Calendar, but they are not just, they don't have they don't have their complete like freedom. They cannot just go into your Google Calendar and change
Mm.
things in your calendar. The AI, the software is very structured. It only allows some of the things to be done, which
Okay.
is set up a new appointment on only available dates. And maybe if you set up the appointment, you can actually change your appointment, make changes, cancel, or edit your appointment dates. But you cannot do anymore.
Yeah.
Like you can give your name, email, phone number so that it can be put in the appointment, but you cannot actually do more than that. Like just you're not allowed to like go and edit the Google Calendar of the
Yeah.
of the person. You're just like you have this user interface between the Google Calendar and the the people have that user interface to be able to set up their appointments.
What about the classical form? Are you thinking about this think about these two things as separate products, the original forms and the conversational AI, or would you also envision a way where I have this form, I need to, for example, to qualify a customer, I need to get these 10 questions answered, and then the AI manages its way to get those answers and structure the answers into a form, whether the answers are categorical, dates, etc.
So without the AI part, I think forms are harder to use. They're boring. Like people don't actually enjoy filling out forms. And without the form part, the conversation is not very useful. Like because there's no
Yeah, sure.
I mean, not just the form, but all the tools, like knowledge and the tools you have that, or the actions you can take. Those are defined by the person who are actually designing the AI agents. But without them, just talking to AI agent is not very useful. You can just go talk to ChatGPT and you will get the same results. So as a business, when you are building your own AI agent, you want both. You want those tools, you want those features, in the backend, but you also want people to be able to talk to those tools. And what's amazing is like especially the phone. Like so for Jotform AI agents, we also implemented phone, and people can actually talk their form on the phone, and they
Okay.
can say, okay, yeah, I want to register for this event, and then the other, the form is nice now. The form is not boring. The
Mm.
form is not just like this cold, boring, this like UI with no knowledge, no, like it can actually now answer questions. Like you can ask about, hey, like when is the event, how much it costs, like you can ask questions to the AI. So and then you can, okay, I want to register the event, and then you can give your information. So and it's much faster because typing is slower, but on the
Okay.
phone, like you can actually do it quickly, and it's also cheap. You are not talking to a real person, so it's much cheaper because you are talking to AI. It's also 24/7, it's available all the time. And like when you call the line, like if you were talking to a real person, you probably need to wait like 15 minutes just to
Mm.
get someone to pick up the phone, because everyone is busy. And but with the AI, like it's just picking it up instantly.
And then that information is being stored on a traditional form, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's just filling out the form. So that's actually how we started. The goal was to get be able to get Jotform users to be able to get their people who use their forms to be able to fill out forms by phone, or just talking to a chatbot on their website, or like just talking to a conversational AI on WhatsApp, or like texting Messenger. That's how we started. And like 10% of our users are still like using that for that percent for forms for our beta users. We haven't launched the
Mm.
product yet. We have about like 1,000 active beta users right now,
Okay.
but like 90% of our users, they're just using it for customer service, to get people
Yeah.
to answer their questions, to do appointments, to do things like that, and not just forms, but other things as well.
One question there on the initial perception, the initial feedback you have. So would you? I was going to ask this as a tricky questions if forms are boring or not, but you already said that forms are boring or more boring than talking to a person. But also forms are very effective in a sense that they are safe. So it's not like you the AI if they so if the person types ABC, that's the outcome, right? But if you
Yeah.
are talking with an AI and the AI is interpreting the results, there is a there's a higher risk of an error from what the person said versus what got transcribed. So, will you say from the initial feedback that you get from your customers or from your beta users that the journey of the customer from uh, to filling a form is faster? Is it more precise or less precise? Is it more risky, less risky? What are your initial thoughts on that?
So I mean, we have been working on this product for more than a year,
Okay.
and we have been really having tough time to exactly what you're seeing. Like someone is on the phone, they are seeing the email address, the AI is having trouble understanding it, things like that. um, but here's the thing, during this time, like we've been working really hard, but the thing that really helped us was not the hard work of our engineers, but actually the during this time, the AI actually got so much better. The AI models, the
Yeah.
LLMs, actually got so much better during this time, and so it's been, we got better, and the half of the reason was actually our engineers and our beta, like all these beta conversations we were having and fixing all these problems we were encountering, and trying to find all these tricks. Sometimes a form actually has this, like, it has a picture or something like that. You need to actually need to like maybe pick a product. Maybe it's a sell form, payment form, and you need to pick one of the products. So like we implemented so that like it sends an SMS to the
Okay.
customer, and so that they can actually view the
Load.
pictures. So
Okay.
there were some challenges, but the biggest improvements on those like challenges actually also came from the models. So this tells me actually, even during this 1 year, we have seen like so much improvement. Whatever challenges we have, they are going to get easier and easier, and the models are going to get easier, better and better. And especially like it's just like so crazy to see that, just like people can talk in any language, and the model can actually understand any language,
yeah,
and then answer in that language, and then
yeah,
and just, I mean, if you think about it, like, if you have an accent, even in English, like I have an accent, and then, Siri didn't understand me a few years back.
yeah,
And then today, like, just AI understands and speaks really well in all these
yeah,
languages, all these accents. So things are getting actually easier and easier with AI.
yeah, it does.
So
Actually,
I would say there are challenges, but they're getting easier. But
yeah,
those challenges actually require like just some hard work, like just so it's not that easy. Like just there are a lot of videos out there, like just you can just build this your AI agents
exactly.
using N8N or like Make Zapier,
Yeah,
just
good
very
luck.
like just they work actually. But
Yeah,
the trouble is they work, but in the
until then.
real usage, and
Yeah,
now we have like 1,000 active users. We get around like 1,000 conversations every day from our beta users, and
nice.
we have their permission to like review and rate all these conversations and improve, like find the bugs and improve things. And it's just like it's not that easy. It's
Yeah,
just
yeah,
requires some engineering
it's
to
tricky.
fix all
Yeah,
these things, like improve things. Yeah, but I think it's
yeah,
just it works. That's the thing. It
yeah,
works.
it works.
Yeah.
So something interesting. So as you know, we help companies define their AI strategy and then implement the solutions.
Mhm.
So a lot of the requests we get from our customers is like, I want to fine tune this LLM to get my custom models, um, and I always tell them like, just get an off the shelf LLM, because the time it will take us to fine tune a model and to get a new model, in 1 2 months, most of the issues that you are finding will be solved by the LLM's frameworks themselves. So we focus mostly on prompting, on getting the right data and the right context, so these models truly know your internal context as a company, and not so much on fine tuning an individual model just for you. Because in 2 3 months there will be, and I'm saying months, but maybe in 2 3 weeks there will be a new version of those models that is way better than the version that you have now. And what we have found is that, as you mentioned, like, the tricky part is not making necessarily the AI work itself, but making it cover all the use cases that you maybe didn't even consider initially, as well as something we have found to be tricky is adoption and resistance. So, you know, for example, let's say that you are booking, for example, the student case, you are evaluating students based on, you are grading students based on their answers, whether or not it will be fair, whether or not the students will feel that they are being monitored as they speak, so they get nervous and do not answer at the same performance level as it is with a form versus a conversational AI agent. Those are the nuances that people do not realize they will face when they start adopting AI, but that happen, right? And so that is why we typically focus on this AI strategy component first, which is, how we identify if the use case is really a use case or if it is a shiny object, whether we build the best technical solution, and whether the business or not will embrace it and the risks are properly mitigated and handled. How is your process for, let's say, bringing these features into Jotform,
Into Jotform in general, or into the AI?
into the AI component of Jotform? So yeah, how
Okay.
do you choose which features you will target? What will they cover?
So one of the things we did was we kind of let our users guide us. That's the advantage of having like 25 million users at Jotform, that we can just open, like we can build an MVP quickly, and then just open it to like 1% of our users, or even smaller, and then like see what happens. And in the beginning, it's just like it's broken, right?
Yeah.
Whatever hopes you have, people use it in a different way. It doesn't work correctly, and you learn from it, and then you improve it a little bit, and then you see what they are trying to do and try to fix those things. So we have this incremental approach that we try to like get them to use the product, and then just we do user interviews that actually makes a big difference. Like just most of the time you cannot really understand why people fail, But if you can get them to, talk to an user researcher for half an hour, for 45 minutes, and then they will tell you where they failed, what they tried to do. And we learn a lot from those interviews. And usually what we'll do is like we'll offer people, okay, hey, we'll give you this Amazon gift card, like just if you can spare like 45 minutes to us. And most people are happy to take it, they're happy, not just because of the gift card, but because like
Yeah.
they get the opportunity to give
Yeah.
feedback, give contribute
They're
to
listening
the
to them.
new product, because they
Yeah.
actually need that product. So and I think that's an approach. And as a you kind of build these custom solutions for your customers, it's very similar for us. But instead of just building custom products for them, like we get their feedback and try to understand what they are to try to do. And so one of the things we did was we actually created this AI agent directory. So what we did was we actually took we have like 10,000 form templates
Mm.
on Jotform forms for forms, and then we actually built this AI agent that can actually take, let's take one form template and then decide why people use this, what's the
Okay.
purpose, and like what kind of knowledge they might need to
Okay.
actually turn this into an AI agent. And then we basically created this process where we turn these forms into AI agents,
Okay.
and sometimes even multiple forms into a single AI agent. That single AI agent can actually, fill out multiple forms as well, like do multiple things. And we actually also put that out there on our website. We even did this like Google actually has this feature called dynamic search ads. I don't know if you heard of it.
Yeah.
I actually never heard of it before. Our ad team actually used that. And in dynamic search ads, you can actually give Google, okay, here's my website. I have 1,000 pages or 10,000 pages, uh, and you just decide like which pages to advertise, like what to advertise, like which keywords to use, what should be on the ad, things like that. So we just gave this agent directory we created. I think we at that time we had created like 2,000 AI agents. So we just gave the directory with like an asterisk and the end, which is like a wildcard at the end that says like anything under this folder you can advertise, right? And we gave it like $3,000. Okay, we said, okay, here is $3,000. We created these AI agents templates, and each template actually has the demo and then describes the AI agent, what it does. For example, like there was this vacation itinerary form. So it was turned into this vacation itinerary AI agent. And then so it had our process actually created the text as well. So it describes what the AI agent does, and there's a demo, there are forms. So we actually describe what the AI agent does, and then we gave this to dynamic search ads, and then the basically Google used that $3,000. It created the ads, it decided on the keyword, it decided on the ad copy, everything. We let it do everything, and then it just advertised. It actually discovered all these different use cases, like top use cases for us, because it's like it just put like small amounts of ads on each one. But some of the templates actually were more successful. So the reason I remember vacation itinerary was because it was actually very successful. I think we received like, I don't know, like 70 people actually created agents. And they were actually like, I remember like there was this user, they were like this, travel agency, or like they were doing these transfers between hotels and the airport, and all these different customers. They actually found that AI agent really useful because they put it as a chatbot on their website. So this vacation itinerary chatbot, they put it on their website, and then
Yeah.
people were actually doing vacation itineraries, like they were talking to, and they actually also added like they were, if they are from Florida or Hawaii, they actually put all this knowledge to the
Okay.
AI, like all the things that you can do in Hawaii. And because of that knowledge, Now, when someone was actually talking to the chatbot, they were asking questions like, "Okay, what can I do in Hawaii or in
Yeah.
Orlando?" And then they were planning their vacations. They were filling out the
Mhm.
form. They were planning their itinerary, and basically these travel agents, these transfer like airport transfer companies, they were actually kind of creating leads but using these vacation itinerary chatbots.
And then one question. So you are going from forms into agents, from the agents into ads to discover
Exactly.
the
Uh,
relevant
I can
use
actually
case.
show you.
Yeah,
Should
if
I
you can
share
share
my
the
screen?
screen. Yeah, if you can
Yeah,
share
let
the
me
screen,
show
it
you.
would be good.
That will make it more clear. Um,
And then one question: are these agents capable of integrating with existing workflow that you had planned as part of the form? And will they query, the right services,
mhm.
etc., in the background?
So yeah, I'm showing my screen,
Yeah,
and I'm showing the agent directory, which we now have 6,000. At that time, we had like 2,000 agents. So basically, and we just vacation. Let's search for this to see what kind of templates. Right, vacation itinerary AI agent. Right. So Google actually like we created these agents from forms. So when we look at like one of these vacation itinerary AI agents, we can see that they can be used as a chatbot on your website like this, right? And they have connected forms, so you can actually fill out this form. It can actually fill out this form.
so
So
basically the
basically,
information from the agent will fill in the form that is on the backend.
what we did was we had this form template. You can see this vacation enter form template.
Yeah,
So we had this form template, and you can see it, right? It just changed tabs. Hopefully,
I
you can.
only see the Jotform tab at this point.
Oh, okay. So let me reshare it, the window. So this is a form,
Okay,
um, and we already had this form. It's been used like 65,000 times. It's a
okay,
pretty popular form template. People usually like just copy this form template and use it at Jotform. So what we did was we created this AI agent that can actually take these forms and it can actually turn them into AI agents like
okay.
this.
And basically interact with the user, asks for
Mhm.
what about the brand style, tone of voice, etc. How can the brand, yeah, define
So basically, it generated these texts as well, and it created these. So from the form, it was able to kind of like it because it read these descriptions. Basically, we kind of prompted it so that it understands like who uses this form and why they use this form, and then from there we ask it to come up with like the AI agent that can someone can use this form, and it actually came up with this AI agent. And these are the for example example questions someone might ask.
it? And then
What
is the user
information?
capable of tweaking the flow, the
Yeah.
prompt, the style
Once you
of the
clone this agent, you can actually customize it as how you need it.
including the knowledge base that supports?
Exactly. Would you like me to clone it and show you
Yeah, yeah,
how?
yeah. I
Yeah,
would like to
let's do
see
that.
it.
So I'm cloning this AI agent. So this is our AI agent builder.
Nice.
And if you want to design it for different use cases, if you want to design it for a voice agent, phone agent, like you can buy a phone number to use. I already bought one. I have one. Actually, not on this account, but I can test it with these numbers. I can create a WhatsApp agent, text agent, and I can use it as a chatbot. So this is where I decide like where I customize my agent. If
Okay,
I want to customize my agent, use like different avatars, I can
okay,
decide on that. I can change the style, change the design of my like if I want to suggest like buttons or not. I can customize my agent this way. and then once I make design my agent, I can go to the train tab, and here we have the knowledge base. So these knowledge base, this was actually created for me because of the because I cloned the template. But if I want to edit it, right, I can just click on this, and I can
Okay.
just change like these things, customize all these information, so that I can put my real company here.
Yeah.
We are actually working on this, like this new edition, so that instead of like just editing it here, it's gonna like talk to you and ask all the information, like what's the name of your company, things
Nice.
like that. So it will customize this knowledge
Would you
base for you.
Are you able? I'm not sure if I believe this is most likely more a suggestion than a question. But have you thought of integrating this knowledge base, like with the company's knowledge base, like integrating with Google Drive or with Notion or with whatever, so you can scrape the company knowledge base or the folder that the company allows you, so you
Mhm.
can automatically sync with the company information?
We do. We have been discussing it recently, and I agree that it should be able to integrate with Notion and Google Drive
Yeah.
or Microsoft. And people have been asking us these as well, so that people don't have to come here and then. So what we have is you can actually do this as well. Like you can put
Mm.
the Notion URL here, and you can give your website URL. Let's say jotform.com. It can crawl your website, and you can also so one of the things you can do is, like, let's say we don't want to crawl just from too much.
Okay.
I will just unselect this.
Which pages you can?
I
Yeah.
don't want to just let's just say let's just crawl the homepage for now.
Okay.
And so it learns from your web page. But one of the things you can do is you can ask it to recrawl. So
Okay.
now it's learned knowledge, and it has this recall. So if you provide this your information in a Notion document, you can always ask it to like recrawl it,
Okay.
and then it will actually update the information. But I agree with you, it's just so it can actually update itself without actually needing you to resubmit information. I agree, that would be much better.
Perfect. Nice. Yeah, I like this feature. Have you considered serving this feature like in an API for developers? Because it will be super useful, right? If you can just wrap up all of these behaviors as a developer for then integrating into a
Yeah,
different platform, right?
I love that idea. So we've been, very busy trying to launch the
Yeah.
product out of the door. But definitely, like at Jotform, like API has like a big part. Also, people actually use the API. They are integrating with their own, like corporate systems using the
Yeah.
API, or they, sometimes people will build products integrating with our product as well. So definitely agree on that.
Nice.
We also need an API to allow people to do these things. So while I'm at it, I can actually show you the other training personalization options. You can decide. You can give your agent a name, and I like this name. And like, you're in Portugal, right? It's
Yeah.
just Zara. Is Zara Portugal company? Is it
Yeah.
Spanish?
Like the Spanish one.
Yeah, Spanish. Okay, sorry.
Yeah. But it's
But
from
it's
Galicia,
not
so
the one.
it's
Yeah,
Portuguese.
the name of the agent is Zara. I love the name.
Yeah.
And you can actually decide like what kind of answers it should give:
Okay.
short, long, very long
Nice.
answers. So and you can have like different languages. So default language is different than English, and you
Okay.
can basically customize. These are kind of like
Nice.
prompts you give to it, so that you can actually customize. And all of these things also were created by because when the AI agent was actually creating this agent template, it decided that a vacation itinerary AI agent should have these styles.
Okay.
So
And then on the actions, you can make the AI agent call an action when it
yeah,
identifies a certain
actions are
ticket.
more like if you want to micromanage your AI agent to do
Mm.
something, like for example, let's say if the user, user wants to, let's say, set up an appointment, right? I have a microphone in front of me. You can say maybe, so we actually have that here as well. Make an appointment, right?
Yeah.
You actually don't need this basically, but you can use this to kind of customize
Okay. Make it more
your
structured, let's say.
your all these, enable all these features,
Hmm.
and you can integrate with Google Calendar, and you can set availability times, like,
Nice.
similar to Calendar. You have all these information that you can customize.
Nice. And then you
Um,
can teach your agent by interacting with it. And
exactly. So tools are kind of similar to actions. You basically, but you don't have to like micromanage. Like, just when you enable a tool, it will actually, kind of know when to
nice.
use the tool. If it needs to get consent, you can prompt it, and you can say things like, okay, if someone says something like this, get their consent.
Okay.
And things like that.
Nice.
And forms, I already mentioned, like you can have one or more forms that your AI agent can fill out. So this is actually the most fun part, and because you can actually talk to your own AI agent. And the reason this is so much fun is because you're able to, like, kind of like request, like, instead of using these tools, I was talking about how kind of conversation can be your UI. Here we have
Yeah.
this example where you can interact your agent. Let's try this. I want you to change your name to, Portuguese name. Can you give me the name? Better.
Maria is a
Maria.
global name, right?
Okay, let's try this. I want to change your name to Maria. And yeah, it says like, okay, before
Okay.
the name was Zara, now I'm Maria. And I say,
Okay.
yes, proceed. So this is exactly what I'm talking about, when you can actually use a product by just talking to it. It's just very exciting
Yeah.
to be able to do this.
One question.
And
Whenever
now
whenever I
the name is
implement AI, I am super risk adverse, and I like
Mhm.
this proceed or not proceed.
Yeah, right.
Do you have any mechanisms where, whenever the agent collected all the information that he thought was relevant, to request the user, like, okay, this is your first name, your last name, this is your email, this is your birthday, etc. Can you
Yeah,
confirm the submission?
exactly. Like, let me show you that to you by just let's just try this AI agent. So we can open our AI agent, and right, we can fill out a form, create a vacation itinerary. Right now, we are actually filling that form out, and it's going to start asking me all these, right? Because the form is long, it actually asks me two options. Do you want to fill out the form directly, or do you want to continue with chat? If the form is smaller, it will usually, like, you will just have a conversation. So I will just give my name, talk to it, give my name. So what's happening here is that I'm actually filling out the form by having a conversation. And now I can actually see that I completed like 4% of this form, and I can actually open the form. This is exactly what you're talking about, right?
Exactly. Yes.
You can actually see the form here. You can see the questions you answer. It's filling out here. And before you submit, we also have this. So right before
Okay.
you submit, I can let me try to skip the question if they are not required, so that we don't waste too much time of our listeners, viewers. Yeah. So I'm filling out all the form, like only 27%, but just submit. Let me try this. Submit the form. See if this works.
Yeah.
Um,
But I like the approach of asking for confirmation, because
mhm,
plenty of the information we collect on forms is for
mhm,
critical purposes, right? So, for example, if you are collecting email and the person
mhm,
is granting you rights to contact them over email or over uh, WhatsApp or whatever, and the AI didn't understand well the number or the email,
mhm.
then you are introducing the user into a potential liability, right? The
Yeah.
company into a potential liability. So having the capacity of confirming that the information that the AI capture is accurate,
Hmm.
especially not so much on text, because on text was the person that wrote the answer, but on audio, I believe
Hmm.
it
Yeah.
is super
I
critical.
think, I think this question is quite required.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, let me see if it can get the answer by this way. Okay. Yeah. Skip. Okay. This one is also required, I
Yeah.
guess. I have the answer. 5 p.m. I don't know. Let's see if this is also required. No. All right. We should be almost done. 95%. All right. I think I accidentally answered uh like another hotel, so it's also
Okay.
confused about that. Maybe I can fix that here. Oh, it's actually a multi-page form.
Okay.
Um, yeah. Okay. I think
But in the
it's
end, you
just
can always confirm.
it added like multiple hotels. So I will just go back to form, path. Let's see. Skip. Okay, we are past 100%. So we are still catching, you know,
Yeah.
problems, bugs. Okay. So we call this the demo course. We have this every week. We have a chat form. This every Friday we have the demo day. Everyone shows what they're doing, and then always something happens. Like when someone is doing a demo, and then there is a
Is a
bug.
Murphy law.
Yeah.
Nice. So,
Mhm.
one question here. We have talked about external use
Mhm.
cases of AI on Jotform. What about internally? How are you using AI internally at Jotform to optimize your
Yeah.
processes to make your company more productive?
Yeah. I mean, before we started this project, we already have an AI team. And the reason we already had a even small AI team was because we have been using AI for different things at Chatform, but mainly for because we have these at Chatform we have this problem with like phishing and spam,
Yeah.
and so we have been building these and from the day one, during these 2 decades we always had to deal with like fishers,
Yeah.
spammers, fraud, things like that. And I remember like, in the early days, we have written this Bayesian filter to catch them. That has been working well, but it has always been this like this race between all these like bad
Yeah.
people and just us,
Yeah.
and trying to get them to stop using Jotform for these things. But we were never able to like fully solve it because they were always finding a different trick
Yeah.
to kind of. But things actually changed about like 3 4 years ago. We were able to actually really stop all the like fraud, spam, and phishing at our platform. I mean, you can never say always, but
Yeah.
really reduce them to like such a big, small number. And the reason was AI, like using these machine learning algorithms
Yeah.
and AI to kind of train AI agents, not AI agents, but our
I got
AI.
you. Yeah.
That so we had this review team, and they were kind of reviewing. In the past, they were reviewing based on like Bayesian filter,
Yeah.
like high probability cases. But then, like when we switched to the AI, now instead of like kind of we started like training the AI, the machine learning
Yeah.
algorithms. With every reviews, it got better. And every time someone actually found a trick to pass our filters, we can the AI
Yeah.
quickly learn those things. And so AI has been a big time saver and big pain saver for us for a very very long
Yeah.
time before we started this
Yeah.
project, but it was mostly internally.
Yeah.
And another project we had with AI has been to really understand how people use Jotform. and so that we can actually help them better. Jotform is such a horizontal product. Everyone is using Jotform. Like whatever you do, you need forms.
Yeah.
And like biggest users are like healthcare, education, nonprofits, small businesses. They use Jotform a lot because they kind of deal with also people like, if you're a school administrator, like you have to deal with um, teachers, students, parents, vendors. You have like so many
Yeah.
people. Like you have all these forms there, so that you can actually press streamline your work,
Yeah.
streamline your workflows. But because we have all these like thousands of different use cases, really trying to understand like what are the top use cases, what are the most common use cases. A good example how we can actually use this information is form templates, right? If we see also people creating these like consent forms, then we can actually go and create
Define
a
a
content
template.
template, and
Nice.
then people actually find us easily because people see these forms. And it's not enough to really understand like how they use it, but it's also important to understand who uses
Yeah.
us, like what kind of like. So our AI classification, like machine learning classification models, they were actually understanding
Nice.
who is using Jotform for what purpose. And all this knowledge actually helped us develop our product, develop better features, better templates, better like marketing pages, landing pages, do better SEO, so that when we know that people are actually using Jotform in a way, we can actually create pages to help
Yeah.
people who are actually searching for those use cases to find our landing pages.
Nice.
So AI has been great for back office, helping us, prevent, bad guys, stop bad guys. Also, it has also been helping us with our marketing and growth to make people, find Jotform more easily.
Yeah, I guess preventing churn and those type of more classical use cases of AI. One of the, I will say it was around our fourth client or something like that 6 years ago, was a market research firm. And the use case we tackled for them was actually gibberish detection and spam detection. So understanding, because they paid every person that submitted a form, a survey, right? Because they
Mhm.
basically paid
Yeah.
all the end users that fill in these surveys. So we wanted to identify if the user was actually filling in relevant information that was associated with the question, or if it was just random keyboard random answers, just to get the money, even if it was 10 cents or 20 cents if you do it at scale. You're getting just noisy data. So it's nice that after all these years, you were also working on that specific use case. Then, and maybe this is also a suggestion of a potential feature that could be interesting. We use a lot of forms for capturing leads and qualifying leads, right? And
Mhm.
a lot of the marketing work that we do is understanding what questions are making our users drop filling in the forms, which questions are requiring which order, just to guarantee that the users stay filling in the form, and or the ones that we want stay filling in the form, and the ones that are not qualified for the product actually drop at the right moment. And I
Mhm.
guess understanding whether or not your form is effective and what questions will be required to add to make them more effective, I believe will be a very nice feature for you. Let's say I have a survey, I have a form to qualify my leads, right? If I could give you a feedback loop of, this answer led to a customer, this answer led to a customer, this answer didn't lead to a good customer, and you could tell me, maybe at this question, why was the reason that this was not a good customer? Well, maybe it was not qualified, it didn't have enough revenue, it didn't have was on the right industry. Maybe you need a question about the industry and on which location you could place it, so you maximize conversions, you maximize the conversions that you want.
Yeah.
I don't know
But
if you
one
have something like that, but
we have seen is, if you put like a chatbot on a web page, and people are starting asking their question, like instead of reading the page, they will
yeah,
just ask whatever question they have in mind. But what's really great about this is like you actually like you kind of doing interviewing them. Like if
yeah,
you just give them a form, they will just fill out those questions. Like you have to specifically ask like different questions, I guess. But if you just let them talk to this chatbot, whatever
yeah,
comes to their mind, like it just gives you so much information
yeah,
about who is coming to your website, like what they are looking for, why they are not buying your product, or like you, let's say you have an ad campaign
yeah,
and like you're landing all these people. Like we actually had that thing. We were actually like looking into different all these ad options, and we decided okay, this product, we found this ad product that can actually, like, that was actually creating a lot of engagement on the page. Like they
yeah,
were clicking on the pages, they were going to other pages, they're signing up. So we said, wow, this is we never heard of this product, this ad
yeah,
product. They were kind of advertising on I think mobile devices. So like we assumed that, wow, this is good. This could be good. And then, but something was weird because there was so much things happening. There was so much engagement. They were clicking everywhere,
yeah,
but like they weren't buying, or they weren't really doing something real. So we put our AI agent on the page. So, and the chatbot, and they were just typing this gibberish stuff.
yeah.
So that's when we recognized that even though people were coming to the page from the ads,
It
like they
wasn't.
weren't really qualified. They were probably either they were kids or they were bots.
Yeah,
Like they were just accidentally clicking on things on like maybe mobile device, and
yeah,
then they were just coming. They were doing lots of things,
yeah,
but they didn't know. Like they weren't really customers. Like they weren't really qualified.
yeah,
And if you just look at the data, we thought that, wow, this is great. Like no other ad platform, including Google Ads, can create so much engagement. Like they are doing so many things. Like they
yeah,
are they are visiting like 5 pages, and they
yeah,
are clicking on things randomly. But when you actually like give them something to write to, and then you discover that like they're not writing something useful. Like they're just
yeah.
the questions they ask doesn't make sense. They don't really
Yeah,
understand the product.
I guess on structured interactions enable you to separate much better the bots from the real users.
Yeah,
So moving from structured forms
yeah.
into AI conversational agents can help you quickly identify those
Mhm.
cases. Nice. One question: do you have any controversial thought on AI you want to share? What is your most controversial thought?
Um, yeah, I mean, usually I'm actually controversial. Being positive is kind of controversial these days. Like everyone is talking
Okay.
about how AI is like gonna take away our jobs,
Yeah.
but I believe the opposite. AI is amazing for small businesses, for
Yeah.
entrepreneurs, for startups, because if you are like this small business, if you are this entrepreneur, what you're missing is the resources. You cannot just go and hire these like full-time employees. You don't have the money to hire people. You don't have the resources to buy these ads. You cannot spend so much on ads. You cannot do many things. You don't have the resources.
Yeah.
But what AI is changing is it's actually making it easier for small businesses, for entrepreneurs to do things. Instead of hiring someone, what if you could just hire this AI agent
Yeah.
that can actually do things for you on a fraction of the cost? And you just hire it on demand. Like you don't need some a space in your office neither. Like
Yeah.
you don't need to worry about managing them, like, yeah, giving them work, things like that, because they are already specialized in the work. They can do customer support, they can answer
Okay.
questions, they can do sales. They can do
Yeah.
take appointments.
I
So they
don't.
can do like so many things for you, and they can do it in a fraction of the cost, and they can be really high quality over
Yeah.
time. I don't know if we got there yet. I think we are getting there, but
Yeah.
over time it's going to get much higher quality, and this actually means it's going to be a boom for all these small businesses and entrepreneurs.
Yeah. And most.
So
I
if
don't
you
know
think
how.
about it, 200 years ago, everyone was farmers, right?
Yeah.
95% of the world was farmers, and 5% was doing trade, doing arts, all the other things,
Yeah.
right? Everybody was doing farmers. And then if you told them, hey, you're going to lose all these farm jobs, like,
Yeah. You just
they will
switch it
get
to a
angry,
different.
right?
Yeah.
I don't think people are missing doing farming jobs. I actually enjoy, like, I actually have some olive olive gardens, olive orchards, and I enjoy actually working at our farm, like as a hobby. But
Yeah.
that's beside the point. People actually don't enjoy like people don't want to go back to doing farming the
Yeah.
same way. I feel like all these corporate jobs, maybe people will lose some jobs, like
Yeah.
but then more people will be entrepreneurs, more people will do like their own, like they're going to focus on what they do well, and
Yeah.
then they are going to be working with all these AI agents, all these AI
To
that
support.
actually takes care of the rest, like
Yeah.
accounting, legal, HR, customer
Yeah.
service, whatever you need to be done. You will just get the AI to do them,
Yeah.
and then you will focus on like whatever you do best.
Yeah. Exactly. So I also believe that in the future we will live on a more entrepreneurial society, because the cost for kickstarting your business will be lower, just because you won't need all of these expensive HR, legal, accounting consultants, right? So all of that part will be easier, at least for the scale of starting. Maybe if you then need to professionalize some part of it, maybe you will need a human that will be enabled by the AI as well, but that will be easier. I don't know how is the demographics in the US, but we live in Europe, and 20, 30 years from now, we will have an elder population that won't have, and we won't have enough manpower to support those services. So I believe AI comes at the right moment, at the right time in the war history, and I think it will be like this. You know the story about London getting flooded with horse shit. Yeah, there was an
No,
art.
I don't
I
know
mean,
the
there
story.
was a
I'm,
convention. I think even at that time, because they were scared that if the number of horses kept growing in London, then the city will be flooded by shit, right? Uh, and then the car appeared, right? And I
yeah.
believe we are now on a demographic cycle that we are getting worried that nobody will provide services for the elders in 50 years, but now the AI
Yeah.
comes here,
Yeah.
right? AI comes to the scene, and we can gain 10x 100x productivity at some point from a
Mhm.
single human, so we solve the demographic crisis that we had.
That's good.
Perfect. I take it. Give me three book recommendations for our audience.
My favorite book is Creative Selection.
Creative
It's
selection.
basically tells the story of how the author actually worked at Apple during the time
Yeah.
when they actually came up with like the author actually actually created the first version of Safari browser
Okay.
and the keyboard, the mobile
Nice.
iPhone keyboard, and he tells the story of like how Apple actually works. And
Okay.
I learned so much from that book, and I even changed how we work at Jotform from all those learning from book.
Okay.
So that's my favorite book. The lean startup,
Okay.
obviously, like we just it's also before Eric Rice wrote lean startup. I was an avid reader of his blog. I
Yeah.
was reading his blog post like 5 times,
Yeah.
and I learned so much from it. And I don't think I learned so much from the book, because by the
I
time the
think
book
everything.
came out,
Yeah.
I
You already
already
had it.
knew everything he was talking about. But
Yeah.
still, I recommend that book. It's
And I see
summary
it's and
of
I see
ideas.
his process is very well embedded into your practice of how you release features, etc. So you mastered his process. Yeah. And the
Yeah,
third
I mean,
one,
it's great for startups. I think it's the best book for startups.
yeah, for
Just
sure.
like I mentor some startups, and the biggest problem is like they just try to do so much, and they
Yeah.
they just try to like plan so much. Even at Jotform, like we can actually do so much, but we don't. Like we just release we give a team, like if like we have these product teams, and we tell the team, okay, you have 1 month, you just release something and see if people use it, and we
Yeah.
learn from it, and then that's the thing. Let me find the third book. I can check my Kindle
Maybe
to
automate your busy work by yourself.
okay, yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, my book, Automate Your Busy Work. Unfortunately, I wrote the book before the AI craze, so it's
Okay.
not very AI focused. But I think the principles, the automation first principles, the automation flywheel, the ideas in the book still apply today. It applies really well, and the book actually works much better with AI in it. But don't come with the expectation that it's gonna give you AI ideas. But it's basically about automation, automating your workflows, how to use automation in your business, how to understand your workflows, how to research automation products, and how to turn them into an
Nice.
automation, the flywheel, a system that can actually help you automate more and more things in your business.
Nice. Maybe it's time to write part two with
Yeah,
AI.
maybe.
Yeah, it's a,
Yeah.
a project for next year. Well, thank you, Aytekin. It was super nice to get to know you, to get to know Jotform, your process, your experience with AI. Thank you a lot for allowing us this opportunity together with you. I'm looking forward to you for your release, for the release of the AI agents, and to get to try it.
I also really enjoyed this conversation, and thank you for having me on the show.
Thank you so much.
Bye bye.